So I don't see how you could be a person that attends a megachurch and also the same person that finds anything offensive with what Druski just did in his skit. Now, the reason why I say this is because everything that Druski did in his skit was something that we've seen, these megachurch preachers do in the past. And it's to the point where, it's crazy that it took a comedian to put this on a level to where we can all look at it and realize that these megachurch preachers are just ridiculous. In fact, I feel like, they're worse than just ridiculous because at the end of the day, they are robbing people. They are preying on people who are trying to strengthen their faith and get closer to the Lord. They are robbing these people and basically not even taking the money and putting it into the community. They are, taking that money and putting it into their pockets and living more lavish lifestyle than the people that are going to their church. And I feel like that has always been the biggest crime to me. Whenever I've seen these like mega churches growing up, like I've always felt like it's a scam, and I've never been able to really say it because, you get flack from, a lot of like highly religious people talking about like, you shouldn't talk about the preacher. But I feel like you should talk about the preacher when the preacher is a fucking thief. Like, I feel like when the preacher is preying on the congregation, I feel like that's the perfect time to talk about the preacher. And I feel like all of the things that these preachers are doing is, it's just weird and wrong and so not of the Lord. Like, I remember, last year watching Michael Todd, like, basically go on stage and spit into his hand and rub it on one of his congregation members' foreheads. Now, in my opinion, nothing that Druski did was worse than that because at that point I felt like it's beyond church because you are literally rubbing your fluids on another man's forehead and you're doing it in the name of the Lord and you think that that's okay, but it's not because like I just feel like that takes away from the message and overall it's just fucking gross. But at the end of the day, people let him do that because he is the preacher of I guess the church. But at the end of the day, it's still weird and it needed to be talked about then. So, them talking about it now, when they're talking about Druski, I can't really get it because at the end of the day, Druski is honestly being like, the most honest out of the situation. Like he's the person that's putting it into perspective so that we can, see how ridiculous it is. But please tell me what y'all think and we can talk about it because, I feel like this needs to be talked about more because these preachers really are out here scamming people. They preying on old people. They prey on people who are basically trying to get closer to the Lord. And I feel like that is the biggest sin. But tell me what y'all think and we can talk about it. But until then, it is what it is.